It's an honor and a privilege to be here for my TED Talk. I'm going to talk to you about Jewish places of worship. So the oldest Jewish place of worship was portable. It was called the Mishkan. It was a tabernacle in the desert. This was about 3,000 years ago. And you can see the screen around the edge, the courtyard. You can see the altar where the animals were cooked and offered to God in sacrifice. And in the center, the Edut, the testimony, where the 2 tablets of stone were kept, which contained the 10 commandments of the law of the Torah. And later, the temple in Jerusalem, built by King Solomon about 3,000 years ago, this was the Ark of the Covenant, which was inside that tabernacle, which had these strange figures on it called cherubim, winged figures. Solomon's temple in Jerusalem was modeled on the same idea. It was like a permanent version of the temporary structure. So you can see the courtyard, and the large building at the end. Inside that was the Holy of Holies, where only the high priests go, and he went only once a year. And to other ancient peoples it was very strange, because there were no images or statues inside the place of worship. It was a space devoted to God. Later on, King Herod, at the time of Jesus, remodeled the temple, and this is what his temple looked like. The area was so large that he had to extend the Har HaBayit, the hill on which it stood. And all that remains of that temple today is the Kotel, the wall, which is a retaining wall for Herod's extension of the hill. So this is the famous place which you've probably seen where Jews pray in Jerusalem today. And as you can see in the picture, it's divided into 2 areas. The area on the left is for men, and the area on the right is for women. But where did Jews pray if they were not living in Jerusalem? That's how the institution of the synagogue started. And the oldest one in the world is on the Greek island of Delos. And here you can see the remains of it, about 2,200 years old. It looks like a Roman building, but you can tell it's a synagogue because there's a little niche in the wall where a scroll of the Torah, a manuscript, would have been kept. It's only a very small niche, but that shows that it was a synagogue. Many of these buildings were aligned, so the people praying would face towards Jerusalem. There you can see another one in the north of Israel. Again, it looks like a Roman building. Wherever Jews went around the world, they adopted the local architecture. This is the oldest one in the Arab world, in Tunisia, in Jerba, medieval building. And as you can see, in most places, seats are provided for the worshippers. The Maimonides in the 12th century does say that in his land, and he lived in Spain and in Egypt, it was customary not to have seats, but to sit on the floor. In Christian lands, a more Christian form was adopted, but in every place, the 2 most important features of the synagogue are the reading desk or bima in the middle, and the ark where the scrolls are kept at the end. And you can see both very clearly in that photograph from Cochin in India. This is one of the most famous in London, West London Synagogue, and that's actually me standing on the bima there. In this synagogue, the reading desk is at the front, and the ark is immediately behind it, and you can just see the glitter of the silver on the scrolls in the ark behind me there. And here's a modern one from Houston in Texas, and you can see very clearly in that picture how the ark is the focus of the whole building. In the ark, the holy books. And this is my synagogue in Hatch End, just down the road. Obviously much smaller, more modest building, but the same idea. You can see the reading desk to the right there, and the ark where the scrolls are kept to the left. And here, on International Women's Day a few years ago, a group of women who were being shown the scrolls, the ark is open, and you can see the scrolls inside. This is one of the finest in Britain. It's in Liverpool, Prince's Road Synagogue, a Victorian building covered in the most beautiful mosaics and decoration. And this is a reading desk. And finally, the scrolls of the Torah, which are decorated with a beautiful cover and sometimes with a silver crown on top. And that's what it looks like inside, written in Hebrew, which runs from right to left, as does Arabic, written without vowels. And in Jerusalem, women are praying in their section of the wall at the Kotel with the scroll. So that's an introduction to Jewish places of worship. Thank you very much.